What advice do you have for people in a bad relationship?
Well, first of all, I'm sorry to see if they are in a bad relationship. When you're in the middle of a bad situation, in this case a bad relationship, you don't see things as clearly as other people quite often, okay? Because you have so much at stake. Maybe you're trying to convince yourself that all the time that you've put into this relationship, whether it's 3 days or 30 years, you don't want to think that it's a waste of time. And especially if you acknowledge that your relationship is not healthy and it's not healthy for you and it's not meeting your needs, the next question is, why are you still in it? And that question leads to, okay, if I leave, what am I going to do next? Am I ever going to find somebody? The greatest fear that most people have is, I will die alone. I will not ever be able to find somebody. And I always say this in my catchphrase. I say, better the devil I know than take a chance of not finding an angel out there. Okay? So people like consistency. They like predictability because it gives them a sense of control. And the reality is the most important goal of human functioning is to learn to control or master our environment. And even if you're in a relationship where it seems like you have no control because you're with someone who's very abusive or neglectful, the reality is, for that individual, it might be consistent with their self-image. Unfortunately, maybe they had, a history of being told that they're worthless, that they don't deserve anybody good or anything good. So every day they're living life consistently with the message that they had, growing up. And even though it might be very damaging, in a weird way, it is comforting because it is, again, consistent with what they know about themselves, about people and relationships. So that's a special category of bad relationship. With most people, it's not that extreme. So I try to get them to see that, if there are problems in the relationship, recognize them, acknowledge them. Don't engage in wishful thinking, hoping that magically the other person is going to suddenly change. And I also say it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to turn tail and run. For a lot of people, they might be in a good relationship, but it's not perfect, and that's not realistic. People have this fantasy that a relationship shouldn't need work, that my partner should know everything about me. My partner should be able to read my mind. I shouldn't have to tell them this. If I were in that situation, this is what I would do. So why can't my partner do this? These are all thoughts and beliefs and perspectives that go against everything that I teach my clients in couples or individual therapy. I always say, never assume. Never assume that your partner knows what you're thinking. It might sound silly, but you got to sometimes explicitly state to them what you're thinking, why what they did was hurtful to you, why it wasn't the right thing. You have to educate them because they're not in your mind. And to expect them to be able to read your mind, they've had a different history than you've had. Even if you've been together for 50 years, the reality is before you ever came into their lives, you had your own baggage. So they don't necessarily know that. So it's really important for open, honest communication. And it's a cliche, but that really is, one of the things that really ruins relationships is not having that. Or having any communication. So that's the kind of advice I give to people, is to be able to acknowledge what is wrong in the relationship, not to fantasize that things are different from how they really are, or that the person is going to change or whatever, and to find the courage in yourself, because it does take a lot of courage for a lot of people, to be able to express these things to your partner and try to convey things in a way that will get your needs met. And it's a lot of hard work at the beginning, but I always tell people, if you put that hard work in now, the dividends will pay off much more. It'll be much easier. The rest of your life with this person is going to be far easier than what you've been dealing with if you're in a difficult spot right now.